Podcast City Network.
You are listening to The Rip Griffin Show. Make sure to subscribe to the show on all the major podcast platforms. Here's your host, Rip Griffin.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this episode of The Rip Griffin Show. Coming to you, a little technical difficulties, but we were able to finally get things going. I had to kind of switch some things up here in the office.
This episode of The Rip Griffin Show.
Oh, got a little bit of feedback there, too.
That was me.
Okay, no worries. But anyways, hey, we're working it. We've got it. I've got Larry the GM. I've got Alex. We're talking ALCS preview between Red Sox and Astros. It's going to be a pretty epic series that we've got going on. But just wanted to dive into it because we got a lot to cover, and especially with the games kicking off tomorrow night. So first and foremost, let's kind of dive into that White Sox Game 4 real quick. There's a lot of talk and chatter before the game got started, since especially there was that rain delay, so the game was postponed today. But there was some chatter from the White Sox. Not going to call any names. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to name him. Ryan Tepera made some comments about the Astros, quote unquote, stealing signs, based off of the amount of hits and the runs that they scored. The Astros, the first two games at Minute Maid Park. White Sox, there's a lot of things that happened in that Game 3 between the Astros and White Sox, where that White Sox put up 12 runs, and then that's where the comments came in. And then, of course, in Game 4, which I called it, I will gonna toot my horn right now. I called it Game 4. But what did you guys think about that Game 4? It was a good statement game, considering everything that had kind of transpired that like 24 hours prior.
Oh yeah, I think kind of like Dylan Cease, he came out first inning, Rodon, just he would have hit 99. I think he probably even hit 100 once, but I just had a feeling it'd be adrenaline and it'd wear off, and that's exactly what happened. And I just love like post game Carlos Correa's thought process, where he's like, he knew he wanted to bump his chest, he knew he was going to throw him the high fastball in 0-2, and so just kind of trying to capitalizing on the White Sox arrogance, essentially using that against them. I think too, they put a lot of pressure on themselves by how much shit they talk at the end, and boy Liam Hendricks putting Sox in 5, and
Right.
That was the perfect exclamation point on the game and series when Jose Altuve hit that 3-run homer that just freaking crushed it. It was I think it came in at 99, left at 110 miles an hour. So that was a thing of beauty. And then I know my boy Larry the GM just loved Yimi Garcia coming in the 5th inning. He was a big fan of that as soon as that happened. And his boy Phil Maton, inning and 2/3, gave him the stanky leg. Then our boy Graveman, didn't hit Jose Abreu on purpose, but your boy Tony La Russa thought so. And then Presley to close it out. So just Larry the GM, he loves him some Dusty Baker. Perfectly managed game.
Actually, it was one of the better ones, to be completely fair. I mean, when he went to Yemi, I was like, okay, I'm confused. But at the end of the day, if he'd done that in the 6th inning, same spot in the lineup, I was explaining to people why Yemi was in the game at that point, because it was the right pitcher to use at that point in the lineup. So, it was almost like, and I think I tweeted this, didn't I, Alec? Like that Dusty was finally listening to me, and
Yeah,
the moves he made, right? So it's like, see, Dusty, it works. If you would just do what I say, you'll win all the games.
It's that simple.
You brought up Phil Maton, and I have to say that was probably one of the best performances he's put on since he's coming over to the Astros. He was,
for sure.
I mean, to go the extra inning and to get those 5 consecutive outs, he looked phenomenal, and I have a feeling that's a good confidence booster for him as he goes into this ALCS. So definitely great to see him kind of get after it. Yimi Garcia, everything that Dusty did in that game was spot on. And I hope it carries over until this next series with the Red Sox, because it's going to be it's going to be a good series. I think it's going to be one that the Red Sox are coming in very hot right now, especially walking off a couple games against the Tampa Bay Rays. And of course, the Astros are always very explosive when it comes to putting up runs, like we saw in this series against the White Sox. So, great series, a good way to close it out. They needed to get that series wrapped up so they can get back home and get some rest, kind of reset the rosters and everything, which we'll kind of touch on here in just a little bit. But let's go ahead and jump into this ALCS preview.
So, Rick, there's one more thing I think, and I think it won't necessarily weigh large in this ALCS, but I think what you saw is one team that was used to being where they were, right? And right, the Astros have been in so many playoff series. They're going to the fifth straight time to the ALCS. This is where they expect to be at this time of year, right? And at this point, Bregman. This is what Bregman expects. He doesn't know anything else. Wait a minute, if I'm on the roster, we're supposed to go to the ALCS, right?
Right.
So the way they responded to things, it's just like, hey, we've been there before. Even the celebration wasn't over the top crazy in the celebration for going back to the ALCS. So
definitely, yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. Now, did y'all one detailed question? Did y'all notice Maton doing anything different? Did he use a different selection of pitches? I haven't dug into it to know that, and I don't usually dig into that layer of details. But did he fundamentally do something different?
I think he just showed a lot more emotion while he was out there, right? I'm just joking. He's like Phil Maton's fired up and he had the same expression. But I mean, honestly, he made his pitches. Like he typically will hang one at least. That's kind of the risk you take when you spin the ball that much. Is when you hang it, they're going to bang it, right? And it was just nasty pitching. But I think it was just like Rip said, getting his confidence back. And I think honestly with Yimmy too, because I think we all would have been okay if they just said, you know what, we're not using this guy the rest of the postseason. Don't give him a shot. So instilling that trust back into him. And you brought up, someone mentioned that the pitcher with Bregman, he actually, with his leg kick, you could tell whether he's going slider or fastball. I think Bregman picked up on that. And that 3-0, he could tell by his leg kick. And, he got that fastball. And I think that was a huge moment to get a couple extra runs right there. And especially, they could have just walked him and went after Jordan. Because he wasn't picking up on that tail right there. But it was just nice in that clinching game to have Correa, Bregman, Altuve really be the ones that stepped up. Of course, Brantley had a couple of those base hits there, and they're still on a couple bases.
I think
good in game 3 where the bullpen just kind of blew it, dominant series. But just as us as fans, I think we get I know me personally, you get those real lows. So after games 1 and 2, I had those extreme highs, and after game 3, it's like, oh, the sky is falling, or at the end of the day, I mean, they come in just kick their ass. So there was no reason to have that fear. Especially, you look at all these other games, like even the Red Sox and Rays, like a couple of those came down to walk off. Touched on the Red Sox, coming in hot. But I'll tell you what really stood out to me in that Red Sox series was after game 1, you had Randy Ozarena eating popcorn. You had Kiermaier, all of them. And, I think it's just basically disrespectful. Like the Red Sox aren't even worth it. I think that's what kind of scares me about the Red Sox, right? Is they're playing with house money. No one expects them to be there. They got nothing to lose, but then they just came down to a walk-off, or even the Braves Brewers. So we were pretty fortunate where, that's how we were during the regular season, right? When we win big typically. It was just, we had the great opportunity in game 3 to just sweep them. But, that game was the home plate umpire, some questionable moves and, some poor execution on our part. That's baseball, it's not realistic to win every single game, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I remember when you brought up the Bregman at bat. I think he was facing Garrett Crochet, and I picked up on that as well, the leg kick, and I think that's where Bregman, like you mentioned, Bregman picked up on it as well. So a lot of good things that happened in that game 4. It definitely was a statement game after all the comments that the White Sox had chirped in before that game. So, but let's go ahead and dive into this Red Sox Astros series because
dive in head first.
Yeah, we in game 4 that AODS Alex and Lance McCullers was on the mound that got us over and into the ALCS, but he was pulled after the 4th inning. We didn't realize it at the time what was going on. It was Dusty probably just setting things up, but after the game and the next day we have come to find out that Lance McCullers was pulled due to arm soreness. And so he went to Dusty and to Brent Strom and said that he wasn't 100%, so they pulled him out for precautionary. Now, his status for the ALCS is still up in the air right now because the Astros haven't released their ALCS roster yet, which they won't release until Friday morning at 9 or 10 a.m., whenever it's due. So we don't know what his status is going to be. Now, James Click came out and did an interview today. They're at Minute Maid Park, and they're still doing evaluations on McCullers. They're still running MRIs and things to kind of figure out if he actually can, pitch in this series. And this is a series that the Astros, like we've talked about, are entering this for the 5th consecutive year. This is the 2nd time in 5 years that they played the Red Sox in the ALCS, 3rd time in 5 years that they've actually played the Red Sox in the postseason. So it's a very crucial series, a rivalry that is starting to brew since these two teams have been playing each other. But right now we don't know what's going to happen with Lance McCullers, and determining on whether he actually is able to come in and pitch, or if he's not, is definitely going to shake this rotation up now, because we saw Zach Greinke coming in out of the bullpen, Jake Odorizzi, what's going to happen to him now, Christian Javier. So we're going to dive into that. So first of all, since we don't know what his status is going to be, what are the possibilities if he's unable to pitch in this series? What do you think Dusty Baker and James Cook will do to set the rotation? We know who's going to be pitching in games 1 and game 2. That's Framber and Luis Garcia. But after that, it's kind of a crapshoot. So, Larry, I know you've done a lot of work on this, the rotation as far as the pitching comparisons and whatnot. So I'm going to kind of turn it to you and kind of where do you want to kind of start with Lance McCullers and his role going forward in the ALCS?
Yeah, so I think you laid it out well, Rip, and I don't know if you want to share that first photo that kind of lays out. There's 3 options here, at least the way I was thinking about it. One is the best case scenario would be that we find out tomorrow that they're confident and there's no damage, and Lance McCullers Jr. is going to pitch in game 3. I don't think that's going to happen, guys. I
agree with that.
The rumor that I hear, and I've kind of probed a couple of folks that are spreading some of those things or backing them up, and so either people are saying we just don't know, or they think this is real. So then the worst case scenario is that McCullers is out, and he's out for the rest of the year, and that's certainly possible. And then the third scenario is where the McCullers, they actually put him on the roster because they think within a week he could pitch, and so he could pitch like a game 6 in the ALCS, or I guess there's some hybrid where they say he's not going to pitch in this series. If we rest him in this series, he's going to pitch in the World Series. So we're going to learn a lot what they think when they put the roster out. So let's just assume it's the worst case scenario, okay?
Okay.
And I think it's everything else other than that is a lot easier to deal with, right? So I believe they'll pitch Urquidy in game 3, and then so number one, the ALDS roster had 14 batters and 12 pitchers on it. They were always going to add a 13th pitcher. I believe that was always going to be Odorizzi, just because in a 7-game series, especially when you have those 3 games in a row. You need an option for somebody that can eat innings, right? So I believe that they were always going to pitch Odorizzi as the 13th pitcher. I think
Right.
the question is going to be, are they going to add a 14th pitcher? And we may get into that. Or they who essentially replaces McCullers, and I believe that will be Taylor. But we'll talk more about that. So I believe what's going to happen is, and we'll get into this probably as we dig in going through things, Rip. But I think they're going to start to use Greinke almost as an opener, with a goal of trying to get like 1.5 times through the lineup. So maybe 3 innings of work. Now, if I remember right, he pitched 28 pitches the last time he pitched, and he pitched like 60 or 70 before that. But it's been a while since he pitched that. I don't remember what he pitched in AAA. I guess I could have looked that up. But so it's not that he's, people have come back to me and said, well, he's not stretched out. He's not stretched out. Like, well, how stretched out does he have to be to have an opener kind of like where he's going 2 innings or maybe 3? If he gets to 2 innings, that may be back to the 30 pitches he pitched before. And it'd be exactly like the game was in LA tonight, where LA started an opener. So I think it's going to be Greinke in Game 4 with that kind of mentality, and then you either, depending on how Boston sets their lineup, you come back with either Greinke as a bulk. You come back with Odorizzi as a bulk, or Javier as a bulk pitcher, and you get through. You get to the 5th inning, and then it's all hands on deck trying to win the game. So I believe Game 4 is the least likely for them to win, just because we can't even really lay out what that game looks like from a pitching standpoint. But guys, just so we're all clear, Boston had a similar experience to their ALDS, where they had starting pitchers going in. Chris Sale pitched with 1 inning and was gone in his start. So they've had major pitching problems heading through the DS, and it's not like they're brimming with confidence in their pitchers. I think it's kind of interesting that they're pitching Sale in Game 1. But
Javier looked great in the ALDS too, because I think he was a big question mark coming in, right? Like, we count on him to throw strikes, so I think just getting him some confidence. But I think you're right, Larry. Greinke, you get just 2 innings out of him, 2 innings out of Odorizzi, 2 innings out of Javier. All of a sudden, boom, you're in the 7th. You can go Stanek, Graveman, Presley. So
you're gonna have to find out. You have to find out where you are in the 4th or 5th inning, right? And then figure out what you're gonna do.
We're not going against the 2019 Astros with Verlander, Cole, and Greinke on the other side, So it's like, to your point, Larry. Their pitching has been pretty scarce, right? Honestly, it would scare me not to have Lance McCullers in a possible World Series matchup, right? But here, I don't think it's going to be quite as detrimental. Of course, you'd want him. He's your best pitcher. But just like Larry laid out, that's not the worst strategy possible, right? I think it is most likely they lose, right? Because what are the odds that all 3 of them can piece together a good couple innings? But it's very possible as well. And then it'd just be surprising to see how Urquidy, because by the time he pitches Game 3, he's not gonna. It's gonna be a while since he has pitched. And I feel good about Garcia Game 2 at home, because I feel like he was pissed that he got taken out so early. He didn't get a chance to kind of work through his struggles, and I think he's gonna come in on a mission for sure. I think he learned a lot from that. That Chicago crowd, you gotta give them credit. They were going all out. They were like me and Larry in Section 109 at Minute Maid. They were. They were a dangerous place to be, world. They were bringing. They're bringing it, and they haven't been to the playoffs since 2008, or they haven't. So they were kind of savoring it. Honestly, we've been like Larry said, 5 straight ALCS. You get spoiled a little bit, but I think this will be a different atmosphere in the ALCS. It's a Friday, Saturday night games, and I think we just saw how great this team could be, and we see the potential to go all the way. So we're gonna have some people. They're gonna be coming in hot Friday night. So it's gonna
Oh,
be exciting.
We're 5 days out from that game 4. So I would have hoped that they would have had Urquidy do some like simulated game today, and
Right? Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's not like Urquidy should be sitting on his butt doing nothing for 20
Right.
days.
Right.
Right?
But
Right.
it is different between like throwing an actual game for sure, though. You know,
Right.
like I said, I mean, I'm not terrified, right? Because we all know how Urquidy pitched in Washington in 2019, and he's Mr. Calm, Cool, and Collected, right? But it's still a little different. I haven't really seen him in the moment yet, so.
So I think this
Uh,
would be his normal off day to like this in between start day to pitch. So do whatever your routine would be on that
Right.
day and prepare for a start. I'm sorry, it's 3 days away from game 3 where I think Urquidy is going to pitch. So
Yeah, and
I just think he
Astros
can
aren't
figure it
rookies;
out.
they know what to do.
Yeah.
They got
Yeah, I think putting Urquidy there in Game 3 in Boston, it's not going to phase him. I think he'll be fine because I mean you know that Boston crowd is going to be pretty rowdy. And then Garcia Game 2, I think that's better because he'll be in his own element there at home, which would be good. But it's definitely I know for me a little worrisome, especially with not McCullers the possibility that he may not be in the rotation, given that he's got us this far this season, and that especially he's coming off of Tommy John. This is his first full season since coming off Tommy John, so that's definitely something else that hopefully that's not the case. Maybe it's just some rest and whatnot, maybe inflammation or whatever, but we don't know for sure. But what about Jake Odorizzi? How does he kind of fit into this mold as far as I know you I don't know if you put that up. I'll put that back up there again, the graphic, but
No, that's probably going to be on the next picture that would show like
okay.
So so this picture shows why is it Garcia pitching in game 2. So you see Garcia's line there. He has a huge advantage home versus away. So just for that, and another interesting thing about this, if you see the Valdez line, he's actually better away. So that'll set up good for him in game 5. And Urquidy, I mean Valdez and Urquidy, and almost the half an ERA, like they don't really care where they pitch, right? They're just gonna shut you down no matter where they are. And so and Greinke there has been better away, so it may set up well for him. Although I don't think he's got a very good history of pitching in Fenway Park. Neither does Odorizzi for that matter. But some of those things, sample sizes are going to get a little bit small. So go ahead and go to the next one, and it'll show like the pitching roster. So here's how I would lay out the roster, and you see I kind of have McCullers in a lighter shade of font because I'm assuming he's not there. So if you count 13 down from there, that you got Valdez, the 4 starters. And I have 2 people I call long relief, right? And that's Odorizzi and Javier. And I think they're going to be utilized for 2-3 innings at a time, and then they're probably going to need 2 days rest. But so I think that's how you're going to use those 2 as bridges when there's challenges or trouble. The Boston offense is really good, guys, and so.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of 1-0 games here. We may be into like some 8 to 9 games or something like that before we're done here. And then you see the bullpen. You got the closer, Presley, Graveman, Stanek, Raley, Garcia, Maton, and then we'll get into it, but I believe they're going to bring Blake Taylor in. And that's mainly because you see that little spot where it's deep red. So red on this is good. So if you want to understand the Larry GM system and the heat maps, if you ever get comfortable with my heat maps, you'll see some value in them. Red is good, blue is bad. So and so in this case, red is better than average, blue is worse than average, and the darker red it is, the better it is. So you can see Graveman is amazing against right-handed hitters, not very good against left-handed hitters. So
Right.
Blake Taylor is just the opposite. He's great against lefties, and that'll, as we look at the White Sox lineup, you'll understand why that may be important. So
Don't forget about my boy Daly Rayleigh. He's good against lefties as well. Look at that red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see one of the challenges the Astros have had all year is you got a bunch of relief pitchers that are good one way or the other. Well, in the 3-batter rule era, that doesn't really work, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to face both, and so they most of the times the bullpen has failed. It's failed because Rayleigh's end up having to pitch to a right-handed batter, or Taylor's pitching to a right-handed batter. They brought a right-handed pinch hitter, and he has to pitch to him because he has in his three-batter limit, and so that's where the issues. And a lot of times, Braveman's problems have come against lefties. So when you understand this chart, you understand the Astros pitching staff a lot better and why they're good and why they're bad.
So I see you got my guys Brandon Bielak and Peter Solomon.
Yeah, so those are like the next guys up, and so tomorrow we may find out that they named Solomon instead of Taylor, right? Well,
right.
I just wanted people to have the data how Solomon ranks in there. You notice that in the second column they're not listed as having a role, but they're kind of like the next guys up.
Or it might be Brandon because it'd be like that sometimes. There you go.
Always be like that.
Got him.
Always. But I mean, it's now let's take Lance McCullers out. Let's just say he's out for like you have here. He's out of this series. How comfortable are you guys with this starting rotation, this bullpen going against this Red Sox team that is, got the guys like Rafael Devers and JD Martinez, and then of course, Alex Verdugo, guys like that can, swing the bat against. How do you feel this bullpen, this lineup will do against guys like those?
So, Rip, do you want to jump down to the gray and white one where I show the Red Sox offense?
Let me see.
Ooh, that's not good. That's not pretty. Okay, well, that's not coming too. That's the one right there. Yeah.
But
what's happening? I guess my white cells. Okay, note to self: don't ever use white cells again.
No, it looks good that way. The stuff that actually has something in it, I can see it, and I can still see like you behind it. It's like you're looking through the blinds or something. It's good. It's a good little look.
So here's the Boston lineup. So folks, if you guys want to understand these, if you want to see what Rip's sharing, go to LarryTheGM.com. I'm not trying to put a commercial on your podcast.
No, it's fine.
Rip, but all this is in the article that I have out there for the ALCS scouting report. So here's the Boston lineup. You got Schwarber, Kiki Hernandez, Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts, Alex Verdugo, JD Martinez, Hunter Renfroe, Christian Vasquez, and Christian Arroyo. So
Schwarber and Devers, I've never seen such bright red.
Yeah, I know. So
yeah,
shot when the right-handers come up.
You see all the red. Notice all the freaking red against the OPS versus right-handed pitchers, right? Notice. So you see the relative. So if you just focus on those first 6 lines, that's the first 6 guys in their order. Even the righties, like Bogaerts and Martinez, they have reverse splits. They feast on right-handed pitching. So when I talk about you could use a Taylor and Rayleigh through that stretch. Now, guys, I'm not claiming they're going to be successful because the righties may kill them too. I mean, Kiki Hernandez has got an 80.85 OPS. That's great, right? But look at the alternatives. Is you got 5 guys that have OPSs over 887, right? The top of their lineup is stacked, right? Yeah. Now, what's interesting is you notice the bottom 3 in their lineup. You got Renfroe, Vasquez, and Arroyo. it's almost the opposite story with them. I mean, Vasquez is kind of like Maldonado, only not quite as bad. I mean, he's not good either way. But
Hey, he had a
you
walk-off
could
home run.
yeah, I mean, you could pitch a righty against those three there
Ooh,
and get your way through
Giants
it.
tied it up 1-1. FYI.
Oh, that's good. Cool.
Nice.
So you can. So the reason I give you guys this information or try to share this, like when things happen in the games, like why are we bringing Blake Taylor in against you? Maybe he comes in against Kiki Hernandez. Like why would we bring Blake Taylor in versus a lefty? Well, it's because the pitcher has to come out because he just got bombed or somebody by Kyle Schwarber, and we know he's got to pitch to three guys, and it's better off pitching to Kiki with a lefty, and have the lefty face Devers and Bogart. So I mean that's the kind of stuff I try to explain the situation. Now, one of the things that's going to happen with this lineup is they platoon Verdugo out. Right. So Verdugo and Dahlbeck platoon, and you can see why. And so if you're coming at him with a lefty, expect that Verdugo is going to get lifted for Dahlbeck. Now, here's the thing about that though: let that happen in the fourth or fifth or sixth inning, and then you can use Presley and Graveman from Verdugo down, and because JD Martinez is good either way, right? Are you with me? What I'm saying, guys? If they plug in Dahlbeck, he's relatively not that good against a right-handed pitcher. So, so you got a platoon advantage then with the righties from Verdugo down. So that's the kind of things I'm looking for as the series happens. So how can the Astros? Your question was, Rip, how do the Astros do against this offense? It's not going to be easy. I mean, their offense looks a lot like the Astros in the top. That's a murderer's row of hitters for the first six, and so it's not going to be easy. But what I think is good about it is we actually have Valdez pitching first, and I'd like to see Valdez get his way through this order a couple times and see what we can do.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. That's going to be the talk. I think that throughout this whole series is these two. Looks like we lost Alex here. Hold on, let me see if I can bring him back real quick. Okay, all right, Alex, you're back. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know. I think Larry just had such great information. It probably just kicked me off. I mean, he was just
come on now, Alex.
No, that stuff was gold, man. No, I liked it. No, I mean it was really good to see like those splits, like you said. So I think at first I was like, nah, Blake Taylor on the roster, but after looking at the data, it doesn't definitely make sense to have another lefty that you can throw at him there. But it is a stacked lineup, but I don't know. At the end of the day, like Lance McCullers, next person has to step up, and some of those games, like if your offense takes care of business, I mean, as long as that starter, just doesn't just blow it out their ass, right? Doesn't go Yimmy mode and give up a 3-run homer and just start loading up the bases. But we all know we're gonna have to just out hit them, and they got amazing offense, but fortunately we got home field advantage. So, and we got we got more experience. They have some experience on the team for sure, but we have more experience, and then if we can just jump on them games 1 and 2, I think that'll be a big part of it. Because 2018, there's some, was it Jackie Bradley Jr.'s hit off the monster against Cole in Game 2? I mean, we're about to go up 2-0 and come back home. That would have been a series changer. Altuve's home run to right field with Mookie Betts that was called for interference. Benintendi's amazing diving play. What is it, that 3-run homer off of Verlander that was just in the nook and cranny of the Crawford boxes. So, it's baseball. Anything can happen, right? But just fortunately, we have a better team, but, you just you got to execute, and, anything can happen. Anything can kind of bounce your way. We'd love to have Verlander too, right? We don't have Verlander for the for the season either, and we've recovered just fine there. So I think we are deep in starting pitching. Maybe not as far as having like the Cole or Verlander like we've had in the past, but they don't have to do that with this offense. They just have to kind of maintain, just keep them down a little bit. We can win a 9-8 game like Larry was mentioning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good thing there's no Andrew Benintendi, Robin.
Sweet baby Jesus. Our Jackie Bradley Jr. is now on the roster as well, so that helps.
Yeah. So,
so Rick, you want to look? So should we switch it and look at like how the Astros offense can do? Let's introduce everybody to the Boston pitching staff.
Okay.
And then let's go with, all right, how are we going to attack them? What I'd like to do, if you don't mind, is let's introduce everybody to the Boston pitching staff. Then let's do the side-by-side Boston pitching versus Houston pitching. And then let's talk about how we're going to attack the Boston pitching staff. Is that cool?
Sure.
So Boston pitching staff, that should be like the fourth or fifth one.
Let me pull it up here.
From there.
Here it is.
All right. So again, we got the issue. So I'll talk for folks through it. But I mean, the good thing is you get the Reds and Blues are all showing up for folks. So what we got in Boston, we got Chris Sale pitching game one. Then they're going to go to Eovaldi. Then they'll go to Rodriguez. And I assume they're going to Rodriguez, and I assume they're going to Pivetta. Now, the way I think they played out the DS is they ended up pitching Pivetta early in the series, and he never got the start. But I think I'm letting you know is what I think is going to happen. Okay.
Okay.
And then their long reliefs is Martin Perez, Tanner Houck, and then they have essentially. So this is part of the genius of the Boston manager Cora. He doesn't really have like one closer. They like co-named three guys closers, and the third guy I think is a fairly young guy, Ryan Brazier. That's the third one you can't really see there. And then they have Adam Ottavino, Matt Barnes, and Josh Taylor as their setup, and then Austin Davis is kind of like I label more of the mid relief. So that's the staff. Now, relative to the Astros staff, what do you see about their starting pitchers, red versus blue?
They suck against right-handed hitters.
It's very light.
It's very light. It's very average. And they're kind of blue versus the right-handed hitters, right? So here's what I want people to think about. They're not good against right-handed hitters. So look for the right-handed hitters to feast on them out of the box. Get out of the box early. We're going to see the Bregmans and Altuves and Correas all hopefully getting to their starting pitching.
Are you going to start Chaz McCormick for Brantley, Larry, or what?
I am starting Chaz McCormick.
Damn, that's what I like.
No, not for Brantley. Brantley's going to play. We'll get to that in a minute.
Not as bold as I thought.
And then, but then look at their closer group. What do you see there? They're not very good against lefties.
Right.
So
besides Taylor,
we need late inning heroics. Who's going to be the late inning hero? That's going to be your Kyle Tuckers and your Alvarez's and your Brantleys. They're going to get to now. They're going to switch this up. They're going to use Josh Taylor, probably try to get Josh Taylor versus a Brantley and Alvarez combination. But that's going to give Bregman a chance to go deep on Taylor in between those two, right? So look for this is why I do this map, these heat maps. So you can literally have LarryToGM.com called up with this article. And you can what did Larry say is going to happen with their pitching? Why are they bringing this pitcher in? What's he good at? What's he bad at? And you can see it right there. Just follow the Blues are bad, the Reds are good. And we obviously don't want their pitchers to be in a situation where it's red. So Chris Sale is going to have an easy time with Brantley in the first game. And we'll talk
Let me record that and retweet it when Brantley takes him deep.
Yeah, I know. Let's go. Go ahead. I I always enjoy the Astros proving me wrong by succeeding when I don't think they can. So
There you go. I like it.
So it's definitely going to be interesting, especially how Sale has pitched against lefties. Eduardo Rodriguez, he was lights out in that game 4 against, I think it was game 4 that he pitched against the Rays.
Yeah.
Of course, you've got Nathan Eovaldi too, who can come in and hit triple digits like it's nobody's business. So I mean, they definitely have a lot of flamethrowers in this rotation,
But like Larry says, I mean, Pedro Martinez ain't walking out of that tunnel, right? Let's go.
yeah, exactly.
Their ERAs are. I mean, okay, you got Sale, who's only pitched 42 innings, so I don't know if his ERA is even real. Evaldi is someone that's
I think I saw Sale's ERA in the playoff is 45.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right. Evaldi's the one that scares me the most, but I'm not scared of Rodriguez or Pivetta. I'm really not scared of most of their pitching staff. I mean, I'm actually, my poor wife. I mean, I'm talking about. I'm building this heat map last night, and I'm saying, look at this, honey, look at these blues on here. This is when the Astros are going to take them deep. Look for this when we're sitting there watching the game. Look for this, and I just think it's going to be really, really interesting how the Astros attack that offensively.
They better not have Ryan face a left-handed hitter. Sweet baby Jesus.
Yeah, I know that.
Right.
Bright blue. God,
That's the worst. That's the worst. Of course, now it's only 12 innings, so I don't know how many.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Still,
let's do the. Can we do the comparison of the two pitching staffs? So this is what I like to call my boxing match of the pitching staff. So you see the boxes over on the right; those are the round. All right, and I essentially score it like a boxing match where you got. Although I modified the rules a little bit, I made it where the aces are worth more than some of the other folks in this. So, but I did the ratings without McCullers. That's to the right of that, the ratings with McCullers. All right. So we talked through every one of these pitchers, so I'm not going to go through all that, but you can see how I rated them one versus the other. Basically said Salem and Fromber are a wash. And call them both 10s. Gave Evaldi an advantage over Garcia, and you can just follow that down. But go to the bottom of that. So without McCullers, I think I gave the Red Sox a 1-point advantage in pitching. With McCullers, I gave the Astros a 4-point advantage in pitching. Okay, so just hold on to that. But that's the relative pitching strengths. I think that's how big of a difference McCullers makes. He turns maybe what's a pitching disadvantage into a pitching advantage. I'm going to assume he's not there, but that difference you're going to see in the batting. We'll get to the batter box off, and it's going to be a little happier story for the Astros.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look at the pitching, especially the back end of the Astros bullpen with Graveman and Stanek and Presley. These are all guys that can match up pretty well against this Red Sox lineup, which is going to be it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, this is going to be a great series, I think, no matter what. And it's going to be obviously the team that puts the most runs up on the scoreboard wins the game. So that's going to be it. But I mean, looking at this and kind of seeing these numbers and everything, you kind of get more of a little bit of a confidence boost that, okay, the Astros are going to be fine. I really think that, I mean, even without looking at this information that Larry has done, but I really think that the Astros they're going to be fine. They've battled through injuries all season. I mean, there was a COVID issue. Lance McCullers was out for a little bit. Greinke's been out. Bregman was out for the majority of the summer. So this team has kind of had that next man up mentality, and I think it's going to carry over into this series. But I kind of want to dive into Jake Myers real quick because
that'll be a good lead into the next part. So let's go to batters and let's look
Well,
at.
too, I mean, one last thing on this pitching though is, at the end of the day, if our pitching is pretty much even with Red Sox, I think we'll take that, right? Because obviously they got a great offense, but we had the number one offense for a reason. We had the better offense, and we play better defense.
If you feel confident at this point, Rip, wait till we get through the offense. You're gonna feel you're gonna be buying your World Series tickets. All right.
Yes.
There you go. That's what I like to hear, Larry.
So
let's talk about Jake Myers and so
it's a good idea, Larry. Let's talk about Jake Myers.
So today they had an interview with the GM, right? The real GM, not Larry the GM, but the real GM.
Well,
James Click, yes.
Y'all are both my GMs in my mind and in my heart. But go ahead.
And Click was saying, hey, he's out there. He did the full workout, and he was throwing the balls from the outfield. I mean, you guys can go find this video clip of Click actually watching him throw as he's doing the interview, right? And it sounded pretty. So we watched both clips, and I said, "Honey, what do you think?" And like, oh, he doesn't sound too confident about McCullers. What do you think about Myers? I think he thinks he's going to be just fine. I said, "That's the way I read it too." Like, if you read the body language and the tone, that's what you were left with relative to what. So James Click. So I don't know that means that Myers is going to start game one. I think it may be like Myers is going to be available full duty in game 3, but it may be McCormick that has to take care of those first 2 games. That's the way I think it's going to play out.
So, like you mentioned, Jake Myers talked to the press today, to the media, and he took his reps and everything. And he said he felt good. He said at the time of the injury, he was about 50%, and then that's when. If you missed it or not, Carlos Correa told him, said, hey, 50% is not good. Trust your teammates. And that's when they pulled him out. So he's obviously willing to do whatever it takes to be a part of this team, to contribute in any way. If he says he feels great, then I see him coming out. I don't think he'll be there in game 1. I think that's going to be a Chaz McCormick starting for him, for the Astros. But there was a question that kind of led into, what about Jose Siri? Does he possibly get a couple reps out there in center field, or is he still going to be under that bench role, coming in, pinch runner, speed on the base path type of player?
What do you think,
Alan? I think he'll just come in off the bench.
Yeah, I think it's just be a little risky to bring in Siri now. Like I said, I mean, who knows how that pinky is, or we don't get the luxury of seeing him take BP or some of those things. Yeah. But actually, like before the postseason started, I think it's like you picked what pitcher's going to step up, what player. I had McCullers, I had Bregman, and then what rookie's going to step up. I actually had Siri, just because like his like we talked about, he could be the Randy Rosarina, right? He's got that moxie to him. He's got that confidence, and he's got the ability just to go deep, right? So it just depends on, you got to take a risk, honestly, right? If you're going to put him in there for a few ABs and give him a chance. And I'd just be a little fearful with his defense in center field as well. Just, that last game he played center field at Minute Maid Park, he's the ball traveling towards the bullpen. He takes his eye off. It looks like Kyle Tucker. So, those are just some of the risks you take. But, like Larry always says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So maybe you do take a shot with Siri there. But too, I mean, and also with Myers, I think it'd be different if there was a substantial drop off from the next man up, right? And he might, even if he's at 90%, 85%, whatever it may be, take a risk there. But when you have McCormick there as next man up, and I think I doubt, Siri, I don't think we'll get a start, but, possibly getting a couple ABs if McCormick looks bad in his first couple plate appearances and strikes out both times. And, maybe go with Siri or some different options there. But or it's just kind of interesting, like we talked about before the division series, we having 3 catchers, like, oh, we're going to be able to pinch hit from Maldonado, and they never did.
Yeah.
So kind of just using Siri for some pinch hits in those scenarios, and then bringing in Stubbs for defense, and then pinch hit for Stubbs with Castro later. Or I'd like to see some of that, and I'm sure part of it is just the you don't want to disrespect Maldonado, or you don't want to take him out of the game, but you got to take that bullshit out of it, out of the emotions, and just do what needs to be done, right, Larry? It's look at. We gotta look at. We all know James Click looks at Larry's website. I mean, I look at who's visiting it, and it's James Click all the time and his staff. So they're obviously looking at Larry's numbers and what he's compiled, and like they did last game, they just listened to Larry. That's what they did last series. They listened to Larry. Look how it worked out. So they listened to Larry again.
We all wish.
We're getting World Series tickets, right? No doubt about it.
So Rip, go ahead and call up the batting lineup heat map, which would have been the one beyond this one. So a little bit of the answer.
That's what I've been waiting for. Get my popcorn ready. Gosh, look at Yuli.
Lots of red.
Jose, serious sweet baby, Jesus.
So number one, if you compare Chaz McCormick and Jake Myers, Chaz McCormick has a flatter split. He basically is better against righties than Myers is. Now, these are not a lot of at bats, guys. So let's just be fair about that. But Myers has been better against lefties. So ideally, you'd start. I mean, if they start Myers tomorrow, it's because they said we're gonna get Chris Sale with our Jake Myers weapon, and we're gonna go to town, and he's fine. So if that's what that would be the preference. I believe they're going to start McCormick because I just think you're going to let Myers have a couple days rest. Now, Evaldi's, so Evaldi's a right-hander, right? And so you're gonna go. I think you're going to use Myers against a lefty, Eduardo Rodriguez, who I think starting Game 3. So if they, by the time they go to Boston, if Jake Myers is ready to go, he'll be using Game 3. But remember I told you that the right-handers could feast and the left-handers could feast in different parts. So you see where our lineup, all the red in that lineup, and you see where a couple of the weak spots are relative. And I notice I've done something here, and this is going to bring the ire of Astros Twitter. I went ahead and put Kyle Tucker batting second. And then Alex Bregman third, Jordan Alvarez. So this is you're actually showing what they should do in Game 1. So I've got Brantley batting 7th.
Really?
Looks like 8th, right?
Yeah,
and in Game 1 it's going to be 8th, and that's just because, guys, he's atrocious against a lefty, and so and Chris Sale is awesome. Against
Larry, the GM, doesn't give a shit about people's egos. Right? He's gonna put people in how they're gonna perform. Go ahead and Larry, break down Maldonado. I'm trying to see who's he good against.
Maldonado gets an occasional big bop against a lefty. Well, you want something scary, Alex?
Yeah.
Maldonado is more likely to hit Chris Sale tomorrow than Michael Brantley is.
Oh, I see that.
Wow.
Let me adjust my eyes there. Let me adjust them. Oh my god.
Man,
I'm putting Jose Siri starting against Chris Sale. Let's go. Come on, Larry. Look at that bright red.
Let's just completely change the roster up. Let's just do it.
Siri doesn't have enough at bat. So that I gave you my line.
That's not his fault, Larry. It's not his fault. You got to go off the sample size you have.
Yeah, so I've given you my batting order versus Sale in this chart. There's another chart that kind of shows you the way that the other parts of the batting order.
When are they going to use Diaz? I forgot this guy was on the roster.
I know. Maybe they use Diaz as one of those late hitting. They bring in a lefty out of the bullpen and they let. I mean, who are you going to pull though? I mean,
right.
I mean,
I got you. I'm
talking about pull Brantley, right? But I mean, are they really going to do that? I mean,
you don't have Marwin Gonzalez on your LCS roster.
That's what I was fixing to say.
No, and I don't really have Garrett Stubbs. I don't think Garrett Stubbs actually makes it either. It just, I'm showing him as potentially as available. So, I mean, it's the first 13 players here on here that are going to actually make the roster, and I, look for Castro. Remember, so we talked about the righties should feast early and the lefties should feast at the end. Jason Castro in the 8th or 9th inning, mark it down.
Right.
Versus one of their closers going deep on them. Okay, so that's what we're gonna look for.
All right, 55 minutes into the video, I got it bookmarked in my mind.
Boom.
All right, so let's go to the next one, which is the boxing match of batters.
Ooh.
Yeah, so there's their lineup. We talked through that.
Okay,
Go to the next one. Go to the next one. All right, here you go. And one back.
This one? This is where we were at.
Go forward. Go forward.
Because I've got.
You should have one that's got like the boxing match set up. Keep going. We may not have that one.
I've got eight pictures.
Okay, I don't remember. So, it's a shame. Let's see. Cycle through them real quick. I'll see if I can see it.
Okay, so play some music real quick here.
The one we're looking for looks like that, only for the batters. Keep going.
See, that's all I got right there.
Okay. All right, we're missing one. All right, so everybody's got to go to LarryGM.com then. All right, so in the boxing match, I'll talk through it. In the boxing match of batters, you line. When I lined them up two different ways. I lined them up by batting order, and I lined them up versus position. Okay, so the batting order, one versus one. So Altuve versus Schwarber, right? Go down all the way down that list, and you get to. I did this with Myers and without Myers. So the with Myers does not have Stubbs on the roster. Without Myers does have Stubbs on the roster. Okay. So with Myers, 110 to 100, a 10-point difference. Without Myers, 108 to 102, a 6-point difference. So when we talked about the pitching, we talked about a 1-point difference without McCullers. And now we're talking about a 10-point difference with Myers. It's huge. The batting difference between these, and you say, well, where's the difference? And a lot of it has to do with Kyle Tucker just is a beast. If you hadn't figured it out yet, Kyle Tucker wins his round 11-8.
King Tucker.
Carlos Correa wins his round 11-8. That's where a big part of the difference is, and the bench is better for the Astros.
So I'm looking at I got it pulled up, Larry. So you got 110 against 100. Is that accurate? Nice. That's right. Is that Rip's going to buy his World Series tickets now because of that?
That's right.
Let's go position by position. All right. So now I go catcher versus catcher, first baseman versus first baseman, and okay. So here's Altuve kicks Arroyo's butt, 11-8. Unfortunately, Devers pays it back to Bregman this year. But Bregman but go down
you got Schwarber going against Altuve on here just because they're both leadoff hitters. Is that how you do it?
I got Schwarber versus Gurriel. No, that's okay. So now we're doing positions, right? You got Altuve.
Oh, there we go.
You got Altuve and Schwarber. It's the leadoff. The next one.
Yeah, so I was right.
By positions, okay. And you do it by positions. You got Maldonado versus Vasquez. You got the catchers, and Kyle Tucker just destroys his competition. So I got 114 to 103 when you go position by position, and that's the way I scored it. So guys, I just think we don't really appreciate the Astros offense. Maybe we do now after the ALDS where they scored so many runs.
Yeah.
But when the Astros offense gets going, and if they're deployed properly, they can just roll.
I've been believing in this Astros offense since Larry the GM said 1-8 OPS over 800. Boom. Ever since then, right? Numbers.
Yeah,
Hey,
that was true for a while.
Women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. Am I right?
That's right. That's right. But I mean, looking at these offensive numbers here, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of red, little blue, but the Astros still have the offense, still have the capability. They're a team that, which was really surprising. They're a team that's not really going to. At least it's just my opinion, though. But they're not a team that's going to jump on the very first pitch. Now we saw Altuve do it in Game 4 off of Carlos Rodon, but they're going to sit back and they're going to make you wait.
And he did off Hendricks, but he's kind of he's the outlier there. But sometimes you got to ambush him with the fastball. I know Correa and Alvarez will sometimes they'll take that first fastball, but it's a balance, right? You got to make those pitchers pitch, work the count, and that's how they battle, right? That great plate discipline, and the more pitches they throw, the more out they're going to make a mistake, right?
Absolutely.
So, Rip, here's the summary: the pitching is close, and the bats are not. And as good as the Red Sox offense is, the way it kind of sets up where it's tiered with you can deploy lefties on the front part of it and righties on the bottom part of it. We get into the later. I mean, of course, we're going to have the starters go through all of it, right? But we have ways to attack that. I'll say it this way: we have ways to attack this offense with platoons with our relief staff better than we did versus the White Sox.
Right.
They could change up their batting order and kind of cause some havoc with that, and they probably should. And Cora's smart, so maybe he will. But I'm just basing it on what they've been doing. They've been pretty stable with the way they've used their lineup. They do switch it lefty and righty, but it's really they either start out left, right, or right, left. And there's only like one switch hitter in on their whole team, so it's not like we have to worry about that nightmare.
Right.
So I just think it just sets up. We should see the Astros offense really get after the Boston pitching, and that's what I expect to see.
Do you have some metrics on the defensive comparison, Larry?
No, I didn't, and I guess that's where I'll grow to. Maybe I'll get that by the World Series. I'll figure that out.
Okay. Hey, my philosophy with Larry is demand more, get more. Right. My job is just to ask. He's got to do the hard part.
So we've set the scene. We've compared pitching. We've compared hitting. So let's make prediction time. As we are on the eve of Game 1, what is you guys? What do y'all think? How far will this game go? How many games will it take?
Let's have Rip go first, since you got it. You got the last series dead on the money. Let's see if you can. Let's see if you can repeat. No pressure.
As much as I would like to see it wrapped up very quick, I think this is going to be a 7-game series. Hey, I've been wrong before, but ideally,
right before Rip.
Well, this is true. I mean, this is true.
Who do you have winning, Rip? You got me stressed out over here. Who you got winning?
Oh, I've got the Astros winning for sure.
Okay,
I mean,
there you go.
But I think what's going to be the tough part is when they go to Fenway, especially with the rotation kind of, with your Urquidy, possibly Odorizzi, if he's on the roster, Greinke, just kind of how the piggyback system is going to work. That's going to be the ticket, especially. I've never been to Fenway, but I've heard the crowd is pretty hostile. So it's going to be one of those things. I think the Astros obviously play better at home. I think they'll return home hopefully 6, but I think it's going to be 7 games.
Where you got, Alex?
I was hoping to go last. Save the best for last, but not this time. No, I think I'm going to go with it going 6. Possibly. I think winning those first 2 games, stealing a game on the road, and then wrapping it up in Game 6. But I mean, 2018 ALCS, the Red Sox split at home, and then they won 3 straight at Minute Maid. Who would have foresaw that? So you never know. Something like that could happen for sure. But I wouldn't suspect to see a sweep, right? But I think I could see 5 games, but I feel like it's going to go 6. Back to you, Larry. What's your prediction?
Well, so when I put through all the numbers, I said, hey,
your boy H-Town Wheelhouse just said hi to you, Larry. Say hi to him.
Yeah.
Send him a shout out.
So hey,
What? There we go. What's up, H-Town? Lockdown Astros.
So
he's probably here to take notes, Larry, on how to really do a podcast. So he's taking notes from Rip and trying to be like his boy Larry the GM.
That man knows how to do a podcast.
Yeah.
All right,
Hey, he couldn't do the charts like you did. There's no freaking way. He wouldn't even know how to color the cells red like that. There's no way. He doesn't know. He can't even do math. But that's beside the point. Go ahead. He's here for your prediction. He's got Astros in 5, by the way.
Yeah, he says Astros in 5. So if you followed everything I said, you say, well, Larry, you must think it's going to be Astros in 4 or 5, right? Well, I have Astros in 6, and here's why. There's 2 categories I didn't cover, and Alex, you asked me about one of them, fielding, and I assume the Astros defense is better than Boston, but I don't really know that.
No, it is, but yep, go ahead.
Yeah.
But then there's one other element.
Manager.
God
bless it. Don't have freaking Brett send any comments about Dusty, all right?
So
Rip got a philosophy. In Dusty, we trust you.
So I did these categories, right? And then most of these boxing rounds I had 19, anywhere from 19 to 11 points per round. So if you say managers 30 points, how
freaking H-Town Wheelhouse is a freaking keyboard warrior. I don't see how he's able to get those comments in so quick. God bless America. That's beautiful.
I'm not sure what the difference of the manager is 20 to 10 or 18 to 12. I'm going to say it's 18 to 12. And it's not in our favor, guys.
If this series is decided by a manager, we're in deep shit, all right? Come on now.
So I expect Cora to outmanage Dusty every single game.
Dusty's gonna prove you wrong, Larry. Him and Brooks Fraley and Maldonado and Brantley's gonna hit a freaking home run off Chris Sale. All right, they're all gonna prove you wrong. And this H-Town Wheelhouse locked on Astros piece of you know what.
So
there you go, Brett. That's on top.
That's cool. So I think so that if I stay with my objective system, which is really it's a objective filter on a subjective system because it's all subjective.
What really worries me is Game 2. H-Town Wheelhouse. I saw on Twitter he's selling his tickets because he's got to go to a basketball tournament, and we all know the Astros play so much better. I can't even bullshit like that. It doesn't matter if he's there. He wasn't there for the game that me and Larry were at. We brought him home to victory.
So I think it's going to be Astros in 6. I agree exactly with what you said, Alex, as far as how it comes out. They win the first.
I would agree with
that. They win the first 2 games. They steal one in Boston. It would be funny if they steal Game 4 in Boston. To be completely honest with you,
absolutely,
that would be.
And then come home and then they win Game 6 and we get to party hard and are going to the World Series again. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be the Astros. I think it's going to be the Astros offense, just at least 4 times in this series, wreaking havoc on the Boston pitching staff to the point where it doesn't really matter anything else I've said. It's just going to be 10, 15 runs.
That last hour of analysis by Larry the GM, just throw it out the window.
It all comes down to the Astros offense is going to carry them to to 4 victories in the series. And I think
Well, it's kind of like the analysis that H-Town Wheelhouse gives. Whatever team scores more runs is going to win, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I think that's, to sum it up, that's perfect.
Absolutely. I'm good enough. I'm smart.
Hey,
Yes.
as long as you think so.
Yes. The people love you. It's, great Locked On Astros. So, yeah. A-Rod. Did y'all see what
H-Town Wheelhouse says that. So
yeah, so there are some weird pictures going on with A-Rod floating around. That's but
so
anyway.
let me thank you for letting me walk through that.
Oh, absolutely.
Larry, let me thank you for walking us through that. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you, Larry.
I mean, that's a labor. It's a labor of love.
Appreciate that data analysis. Hey, thank you to your wife as well for putting up with looking at those different shades of blue and red. And a bigger shout out to her for actually marrying you, right? Jesus Christ,
Right.
that's got to be.
Can you imagine? She had to listen to the previews of me going like, "Look at all that blue! Oh my gosh!"
She's a lucky lady. Let's be honest, right?
Absolutely.
She's an angel for putting up with me.
But
two runners on for the Dodgers. Come on, Giants.
But all the analysis, I mean, the numbers and everything, it's truly phenomenal just to see it kind of laid out the way you've got it, and to kind of see, how the team will do against the Red Sox offensively, how they'll do against pitching, how both offenses will kind of compare. I mean, like we were talking. I mean, it's gonna be one of those things.
We're good.
So it's gonna be a great series no matter what. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. A lot of great things that we're gonna be able to see this starting tomorrow night. But you will have to listen to Joe Buck, but it's October baseball, and I think that's the thing that's going to matter the most. So, but guys, great job as always. I truly appreciate you guys coming on. It's going to be a fun series. I'm excited for it. I know you guys are. H-Town, I know you're excited as well. So it's going to be fun, and I truly appreciate you guys coming on and doing this ALCS preview because for the 5th consecutive year, the Astros are back in it. They're playing the Red Sox again for the 3rd time in the postseason, 2nd time in the ALCS. So it's going to be fun. It's a great series, a good rivalry that's kind of starting to heat up in baseball. So
guys, can we just for a minute,
1 minute,
just dwell on the fact that our baseball team in Houston is going to the league championship series for the 5th year in a row, and there's only two other fan bases throughout the history of course, since I guess the last 40 plus years where they've had a league championship series, right?
For sure,
they can say that. And
absolutely,
guys, we're living in a golden age, and we'll get off on tangents about what's going to happen with Correa and all that, and just enjoy the ride through this ALCS because
buckle up.
Just because we are extremely blessed as a fan base.
Thanks for clarifying. Really, house. We knew that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean Oakland. So 50 years ago, Oakland went through this, and
Oakland went to 5 straight, and then Atlanta went to 8 straight. But
too
bad H-Town Wheelhouse didn't have the exact numbers for the team. That's why we come to the Rip Griffin Show, baby, because we give you all the numbers you want.
We are just so blessed. We should really just realize it and
absolutely
enjoy it.
Could not agree more, Larry. Well put. And you're right.
Absolutely.
So 1 minute, let it count down. No, I'm sure.
But no, it's like you mentioned, it's truly phenomenal that the run that they've been able to carry on and continue on, and for years to come, this team is set up. If they continue to build this team and they've got the talent to do so. I mean, not just at the major league level, they've got the talent in the farm system in the minor leagues as well. So it's going to be exciting to watch this team, to watch them compete, watch them be electric. Because Minute Maid Park come tomorrow night is going to be electric. You got the orange rally tiles going, orange it out. come early, stay late, wear orange, all that good stuff. So,
Wow.
That's
come for the Astros, stay for Larry the GM.
yeah, bring the smoke, enjoy the paycheck you get from Rip. Hey, yeah. So, but but that's gonna do it for this episode, guys. I truly appreciate you guys coming on. H-Town, thanks for tuning in and riding with us as we get ready for this ALCS matchup.
Oh, yeah.
So
we ride together, we die together.
That's right.
Hopefully we ride together and go to the World Series together, right? That'd be even better.
Absolutely. And as always, Astros fans say, it's for the H.
Nice.
All right.
Bye.